No more phlegm sounds, Lewis. We're almost live.
Flemisodes? What'd you say?
Flemisode. That's what it's called. That's what the pre-show is called for you. Flemisode. Special Flemisode. And I see the bits coming in. Boom! And we're live. Should I do that into the mic, do you think? Not off the mic? So every time I do it, I'll
hurt my ears, I think.
You guys are just like...
Yeah, we have to wear headphones for this, man. Have some respect.
Yeah, that's true. All right, I don't want to blow out your eardrums. That wouldn't be kind. All right, we got Ulysses Martinez here with a very enthusiastic, hey, y'all. We actually can't wait very long because we got to get rolling. We got so much content here. I have no idea how we're going to make it through all. There's no way we're going to make it through all this stuff. We've got barely under an hour and a half to do all this. So, yeah, we got Roz Hall here, and I think that's all we need. We only need 2 people. Let's just do it. So, let's queue up. We got a lot of iPhone 15 Pro stuff to talk about. So, let's queue up Mrs. D, and we'll get this thing rolling. Oh, Mrs. D. Oh, Mrs. D. In a great mood. Oh, yes, I spent last night ordering the iPhone 15 Pro with one Mr. El Caney. Oh, that's remarkably wholesome, Mrs. D. Oh, yes, but of course we did it in the nude. Oh, gross. Every time, Lewis. Every time.
One track mind.
Oh, my. Mrs. D, you have grossed me out, and I don't want to hear any more about that. If you don't mind, we've got about 2 hours of content to pack into this 30-minute Apple CultCast episode. So let's go ahead and get all the music and everything queued up. And, oh, shoot, you want the tweet action, Lewis?
That would be awesome.
Yep, here it comes. I got to tweet twice now. I got to click once to send it, and then click again to send now, because it lets me undo it. And I'm like, this is actually more annoying. Is there like a setting where I can just change it to just send the tweet out automatically? Okay.
Twitter got more annoying? That's unprecedented.
The tweet has been tweeted. The X has been X'd. And let's get this thing rolling in 3. Wait, that's not right. 3, 2. Hello, and welcome to the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Ervin Elijah. Joining me today, where is he? There he is. He's been into Au Naturel long before Apple decided to offer it on an iPhone 15 Pro. He's the managing editor of CultCloth, Lewis Wallace.
I disavow.
We know Lewis. Also with us now that iPhone 15 is out, he'll be upgrading to one of the many iPhone XS Maxes that will be flooded on eBay, undoubtedly. The tennis match is back, Lewis. I just love to say that.
Oh, yeah.
He's a writer for CultMac. Griffin Jones is here.
10s Max, I would never.
Come on, the
That
tennis
is
match?
objectively one of the worst iPhones.
Come on, that's not true. What was wrong with the 10s Max?
Oh, it had that crappy overactive HDR that would like blow out your pictures and make them look horrible.
Oh, did it really? I can barely remember.
Yeah. And a Max
iPhones
phone,
ago.
I would never do that again.
Oh man. Well, we got to talk about which phones we get. We have so much stuff to talk about this episode. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. I'll just run you through the list here. We're going to review the reviews. The iPhone 15 Pro is, well, by the time you hear this, it's probably out. People probably have them in their hands. Of course, all of the Access Media reviews are out. And guess what? They all love it. Shocker. So we'll talk about...
What did you call it? Access reviews?
The Access Media, man.
Access Media.
The Access Media. All the people that, they can never be fully honest about their reviews because they get early access. And if you bite the TC hand that feeds you, guess what TC does? He cuts off your access, and then he cuts off your head. So you got to be careful. So we'll talk about that. And of course, I would love to hear what you guys all ordered because I honestly don't know. And I'll tell you what I did. We also need to talk about this quote unquote PrintGate 2023. D. Griffin Jones was like, what the hell is that? It's a real thing, man. I don't know if you saw what happened. You probably didn't. What happened on Twitter? People circulating these images of like how nasty and printy the iPhone 15 Pro titanium finish gets. And it looked like it was being like corroded away by the fingerprints. And I was like, what is this? So we have to talk a little bit about that. Let's see here.
PrintGate.
Oh, and we'll talk about Apple's new Finewoven cases. Man, I think this is turning into like a massive debacle. Just a really bad move by Apple. Maybe, I don't know if you guys agree, but these Finewoven cases do not look like anything that they're not nearly the same quality as leather cases are, and they look like they have a lot of problems right now, which I don't know if Apple will dial out eventually, but so we'll talk about that. We've got some new iPhone 15 Pro features that weren't mentioned before. We've got the answer to the question that we asked last week. What happens when you plug an iPhone 15 Pro into another iPhone 15 Pro via USB-C? We have the answer to that. And let's see here. Griffin's going to try and work in some of the best iOS 17 features you should check out. So he actually has an update or an article on Cult Mac with 50 of the best features. I was like, Griffin,
50.
This is only a 30-minute show. You got to cut this down to like the top 5 or something. So he's going to try and do that.
30 plus.
You're only doing 30? Okay, good. Well, I have to leave at 1, so maybe you guys can continue doing the show without me. You just won't be able to change camera angles.
Drop the mic and walk off.
I'm going to literally just get up and leave. I should have like a El Caney image that I just cut to for my piece. And then we're also going to talk about iOS 17 and iPad OS 17 features that won't arrive till later this year because there are quite a few. And another big feature I just wanted to mention real quick in case you haven't tried it is FaceTime coming to Apple TV. This is a really cool feature. I played around with this. So as you can see, tons of stuff. I don't even know how we're going to make it through all this stuff. Let's see here. Where are we? I completely lost my notes. Before we dive in, oh yes, I want to give a big hearty thank you to Factor for supporting this episode. Factor is America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit. They can help you fuel up fast with chef-prepared, dietitian-approved, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. You'll save time, eat well, and stay on track with your healthy lifestyle. Level up with Gourmet Plus options prepared to perfection by chefs and ready to eat in record time. Treat yourself to upscale meals with premium ingredients like broccolini, leeks, truffle butter, asparagus. So my big problem with I'm not in browser mode, am I? There we go.
Oh dear.
My big problem with Factor meals. This is a true story. I'm not trying to sell you guys anything. This is literally my problem. So they send me a bunch of food, usually once a month. And I love it when the Factor food arrives because you get to sift through and just see what's in there. And the meals that I get are protein heavy, right? So like I call them man meals. It's just a big old hunk of meat. They usually slather it with a really delicious, uniquely flavorful sauce, and it will have a big old pile of vegetables next to it. Like that's the kind of food that I like to eat. You don't feel like you need to take a nap afterwards. Well, guess what started happening, Lewis? Guess what started happening? My wife starts ruffling through the meals. So I start setting them down. I put them in order, like the ones I want to try first. I go in there. Hey, where'd the pork chop go? You know, where'd the chicken slathered with some delicious cream sauce go? So like now my wife has started eating them, and I come in there and the ones I wanted to try are gone. I'm like, sweet buns, I got to talk about these on the show. You can't just eat all these. At least save me a bite. So she did start doing that. She'll literally save me like one bite of something just so I can try it.
Are they delicious, really cold and left over?
They actually are delicious cold. Factor meals are really tasty. They are just moist, fresh tasting. They're never frozen, and everyone is unique. And like I said, they're great to have in the house because sometimes you're hungry and you don't want a carb bomb, right? And then have to take a nap afterwards or, gain 20 pounds because you're loaded up on a bunch of carbs. And you can just pop one of these into the oven or into the microwave. It literally takes 2 or 3 minutes to heat up, and it's ready to go. And it's moist, delicious. It tastes like restaurant quality food. I love them. In 2 days, 2 or 3 days, they're usually completely gone. So maybe I can convince Factor to send me more. But if you want to try it out, head to factormeals.com/cultcast50 and use code cultcast50. You'll get 50% off. That's code CultCast50 at factormeals.com/CultCast50 to get 50% off. And it makes these extremely affordable, a great value. And food's expensive these days, so 50% off is a very generous discount. And it's a great opportunity to try out some of their delicious offerings. I would recommend the Protein Plus meals because those are the ones where you get like the huge hunk of meat with the sauce and the vegetables on the side. Dude, I love them. I would eat these 4 or 5 days a week. If they would send me enough of these, I would actually eat one a day.
Just a random question about how many calories are in each one. Do you know?
They depend. So I don't know.
Wide variance, huh?
So yeah, I mean, they could be 800, they could be 1400. I'm not really sure. It depends on which meal you get, But the more calories, the better, in my opinion. Especially when it's protein calories. Those are the good calories. Those are the ones that you want.
You're burning off a lot trying to fend off your wife stealing your food.
Look, you think TC got into that shape that he's in by not eating like 55 grams of protein every single meal? Somebody was commenting on a picture that Apple released after the Wonderlist event, and they're like, dude, look at TC. He's clearly been lifting, man. And he's probably eating nothing but protein. He's starting to look like Jeff Bezos, who's I'm not even sure is a real human at this point. I think he might just be like part cyborg. Have you seen Jeff Bezos?
I saw some picture of him getting up out of climbing up onto his super yacht or something. It was like, yeah, he looks like,
dude, that guy must be
in a movie
injecting a growth hormone directly into his spine. He's huge. I mean, he used to be like a scrawny, puny Alex E. Heath level, like skinny little guy, and now he looks like he's participating in like an amateur bodybuilding contest. Okay, look, we don't have time for this. Let's move on. Let's talk about iPhone 15 Pro demand. Lewis, I'll send it to you to talk about demand, and then we'll move on to what we ordered. We'll talk about the reviews. They're all in, of course, by the time you hear this, especially. So take it away, Lewis.
Yeah, so were you up at 5 a.m. last Friday trying desperately to
I was not.
complete your iPhone pre-order? You weren't?
No,
well,
I wasn't.
You were.
No,
Gosh, you missed out on a lot of fun.
Well, I got my pre-order in, but I didn't participate.
Not load. Oh my God!
I heard it was terrible.
I think it was one of the rockier ones in recent memory, and I hate getting up at that hour. And every time I do it, the wife starts asking me questions. Well, why is it this loading? I'm like, well, let me just call Tim Cook and ask him. Tim, what should my wife do while the thing spins? And now that it's booted her back to the start screen, should she continue? Should she go back? What should she do? I'm sure there are a lot of people in the same situation. It's very annoying at 5 a.m. on the West Coast.
Dude,
it's
so
one of
annoying.
the only times I feel extremely jealous of Griffin living there in Ohio. But so the thing is though, if you didn't place your order bright and early, you're looking at extended wait times for delivery.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up while you're talking so we can see where they're at.
How dare you?
I saw where they were at later that day, but I haven't looked since.
Yeah, oddly enough, I just looked this morning. So if you go to Apple's site right now, like I did right before the show, if you want a Pro Max, sometimes
which is the one that I think everyone's
the Pro
picking.
Max, in certain colors is super in demand or short supply or whatever. I mean, kind of sounds like a combination of both in demand and not great production amounts. But right now, you placed one for order. Certain size combinations, color combinations, November 10 to November 17. The iPhone Pro, little better. It was like October 20 to October 27. These started slipping like within the first half hour after pre-order started.
November 10. I bet you it would be before that. I mean, they are very conservative with these numbers, but still, I mean, you're looking at November.
And the caveat is that with all of these things, everyone I looked at, it said in-store availability on the 22nd. So you can go to the store maybe. You can maybe go to the store and get one tomorrow. Or today if you're listening to it tomorrow. I mean, as always, we always recommend to people, go look at Apple's website. And, if you're like us here in San Francisco, there's multiple stores in the Bay Area, and you can look around and you can say, oh, I want this phone. Where's it available? I want this phone. Where's it available? It always varies. Like downtown San Francisco store probably have a lot. I have to actually, the pre-order was so messed up that by the time that I finally got it to accept my thing, which I had already set up, I'd already done everything the way you're supposed to do it. Everything, right? All I wanted was a iPhone 15 Pro Max in natural titanium. By the time it stopped spinning, it said delivery October 5th or something like that. And I'm like, well, this is crazy. But then it gave me the option to pick it up in the store on pickup day and schedule a time right then.
Oh, wow.
So, and even that slipped as I fumbled around trying to press the button with my bleary eyes. But, okay, so regular iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, same deal. Now they're still sold out. That they did not sell out that day. Now, if you order one for delivery, October 6 to 13, also in-store availability on 9/22. for basically every size and color that I looked at, there wasn't a single one that said it would not be available in stores tomorrow. So if you just want a regular one, go to a store. You can get one on launch day. Probably no problem.
Dude,
And it might be fun. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think this
It'll
is one of
definitely
the
be
first
fun.
years where they came out with 4 phones simultaneously, and all of them are available to order on the first day. I think like with the iPhone 12, they staggered them where you could order 2 different phones in September, and then you had to wait like 3 weeks to order the like the regular Pro model and something else. I think I remember having to do that when I ordered my 12 Pro. And then they had that the following year again with the 13 models, and I think last year as well. Like the Pro Max was, I can't remember if you had to wait like an extra week or something for that. This might be one of the first years where all of them are available on the first day.
Yeah, it's weird. You mentioned that. I remember I was fact checking one of our articles, and it said something like, oh, it was. I can't remember if it was available on that day, but then released a week later. Yeah, they've had, and it's. I think most of these past 3 years, it's all been about COVID and supply chain disruptions, and I mean, but before that, it was always everybody orders on the same day and gets it, whenever, and so I don't know. To me, it maybe it's just mostly a return to normal, but.
So Erfan, what did you order?
Yeah, so I was trying to pull this up while you guys were speaking. I failed. I let the internet decide what I should get, and that was a terrible idea. I later realized. So
when are you getting your Pro Max?
I'm getting it on September 22nd. Yeah, so
delivered too, right?
Yeah, it's delivered too.
That's what I thought.
So I did order right when the orders went live. It wasn't me that did the ordering, but it was ordered on my behalf. And so mine will be getting here September 22nd, and I put a little poll out on Twitter, and I said if this tweet gets, it wasn't a poll, it was a tweet, or I guess it was an X, if this X gets 200 likes, I'll buy the iPhone Pro Max. And within probably 2 hours, 200 people had liked it, and I was like, oh no, what did I do? I don't.
Did you immediately started doing hand stretches?
Oh, man. I went to the Apple store and I held the Pro Max, and it reminded me why I don't buy the Pro Max. Man, that phone is just, it's just not comfortable in my hand in any way. And it's easier to drop because you just can't hold it as easily. And I don't know, man, it's such a huge phone, but I was like, I committed myself at this point. I can't go back on it, right?
Back.
So I ordered it. I did order the 15 Pro Max on that trail, baby. That's how we like to go. And I am really excited about that titanium finish. I think I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, obviously, but I think it's the most beautiful iPhone finish that Apple has ever offered. I haven't seen it yet. I could change my mind, but I just love that natural metal look. I'm a huge fan of the color gray, and this looks like a really beautiful medium gray. So I'm excited about it, but I'm like, if I hate it, can I return it? Is that going against what I committed to do? I don't know. But I'll probably give it a shot for the whole year. I do like having a larger screen for sure. But that phone is so big. Is your phone now a Max, Lewis?
I'm sorry, what?
Do you have a Max now?
No. I swore I'd never get one again, and then they 5X'd me.
Yeah. Okay.
I can't not get the best camera. I'm sorry, I can't. And I also am looking forward to not having a phone that's the exact same size as my wife's phone, because that is constantly troublesome.
Yeah, the chat's saying John Duffine, battery life will be awesome. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. Mark Lapointe says I regret getting the black version. Yeah, I think you're probably right about that too, Mark.
you know
On
what
that
I
trail
was
is the way to
thinking
go,
about
baby.
with
We
this?
try to tell you. What?
I wonder how much it's going to be annoying. Like I remember switching to it and going, okay, well, I like the regular Pro better than the Max because the Max is just too big. But at the same time, it's not like the Pro is small enough that I can really effectively use it with one hand either. I mean, no.
Oh man, you just outed yourself as Alex E. Heath Tiny Hands.
Yeah, I mean, I can hold it with just one hand. I'm not so weak that I can't hold it in the air with just one hand. But there's a lot of parts of that screen that my thumb is not long and nimble enough to reach.
So I usually hold it like this. For those of you listening, I put my pinky underneath the bottom of the phone, and I can pretty much reach.
That looks French.
Almost my whole phone with just my thumb. I have monster man hands, so what you need to do is stock up on some Factor food. That'll grow the diameter of your hands.
You could get some fingertip extensions.
Maybe get some of those long fingernails. Go to the salon, get some of those
Yeah,
long
those will
fingernails installed. Maybe that'll help. So
maybe I go to a finger stretching joint.
yeah, I don't know. Maybe you can probably add a couple millimeters. I'm not sure that will do much more than that. But so I'm excited. I'm really excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining. I'm getting a beautiful brand new phone. I'm excited about it, but I'm like, this is probably going to be too big for me. I'm excited to play around with the 5X. The better battery life will be a good thing for sure. But I don't know, man. This phone is so huge. What about you, Griffin? What did you end up getting?
Well, I woke up at a very comfortable East Coast time. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
I was refreshing the website and the app at 8 a.m. I finally got in, and I went to order a Apple Watch Finewoven magnetic band, only to discover that for some reason it just isn't available, and it's still to this day. They're not shipping that one in particular. I don't know why it's not for sale, but I ordered the Apple Watch as I mentioned last week for my wife. I'm getting that tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, I wanted to test the fine woven magnetic link band, but they don't. For some reason, they're not shipping that one. I could have got the fine woven modern loop, but I didn't want to spend like $150 on a watch band,
Modern
especially one.
buckle.
Yeah, the modern buckle. That's what it's called. Like that one's it's $50 more expensive, and it has the stainless steel like lugs and buckle on it, and that wouldn't have matched the watch. It wouldn't have matched mine either. So I ended up ordering nothing on Friday.
You're not getting the new phone.
I don't think I
Wow.
am. No, I think I'm going to
Well,
stick with
so
my 12 Pro another year.
what made you decide to only get the band? What made you decide to skip the phone?
Well, if we're ready to move on, let me talk about the iPhone 15 Pro Max reviews.
All right, go for it. I know where you're going with this.
Okay, I have just a few tidbits that I collected from the various reviews that I read. There's really not a lot of surprises. People like the lighter weight. People like the titanium, just like Airphone. Not a lot changed with the people who have the phones in person. I included this post that I saw on Threads, posted by Matthew Panzarino at TechCrunch. He makes it his thing where he tests the phones every year by going to Disneyland.
Dude, that's actually kind of a fun idea.
Yeah, Erfan, do you have that post
I'm
brought
looking at
up?
it right now. We got it up right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Look at how incredibly stable the camera shots are using that 5x lens. This is, click the link in the show notes if you can watch
Yeah.
it.
We're watching
You're,
it full screen right now.
this is, for the audio listeners who can't see it, this is like a tracking shot. He's on a Disney ride, and you using the 5x lens, and you just see like this shot of like some like I don't know what ride he's on. It's a Small World or something, some sort of like
It's
water
small,
ride.
small world. No, it's like the I forget what they call it, like the fairy tale boat ride.
Okay, some kind of moving ride, and you just see
I
this
know exactly
incredible
what ride
tracking
this
shot of the
is. I was
castle
just
that
on this
looks
like 3 months ago. Yeah.
it looks like a gimbal shot or like a drone shot or something. That's how smooth it is. And he's holding this in his phone on a rockety little boat. So that was one of my concerns. Like, yeah, sure, you have a 5x lens, but if you have shaky hands, is it actually going to, do anything? It has that supposedly 3D sensor shift image stabilization.
Hmm.
It works apparently very, very well.
And that's one of the few things that's better on the Max too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
The
Another
stabilization.
question I had, there is, of course, the feature where portrait mode works even if you're not in portrait mode. If you just take a regular picture and it thinks, and your phone thinks, hey, this could be a portrait mode picture in the future, and it'll apparently capture all of the same data. I was wondering, well, how well is that going to work? Are you going to have to like hold it and then like wait for 5 seconds before it decides to do that or not? Apparently, according to the reviews I've read, it works instantly. And that's great for taking pictures of kids and dogs who don't give a crap whether you want a slightly nicer picture or not. You cannot possibly convince a child to sit still for like the 30 seconds it takes to take a portrait mode. But you can still get great pictures even if you don't do that. I have a few quotes I pulled from Gruber's review. He says, and this is why I've decided to wait. He says, in past years, when the plus-sized iPhones have had exclusive camera lenses, those lenses made their way down to the regular-sized iPhones in the next model year. So I suspect Apple's plan is for next year's iPhone 16 Pro to have 5x telephoto cameras based on this tetraprism design. I hope so too. And you know what? I hope so as well. I cannot I cannot convince myself that I can go back to the giant phone size again. I did it once with the iPhone 7 Plus, and you know what? I just hated my phone for 4 years, and I don't want to do that again.
I have a feeling I'm going to be upgrading next year. That was my only solace. I was like, if I hate this, I only have to do it for a year. And yeah, same here. The last time I had a Max phone, I was like, never again. I can't do this. It's just too big. Because I like to hold my hand. I use my hand or my phone one-handed a lot, and this pretty much takes that experience away. And also, if you're trying to do like a selfie video or something, it makes it way more awkward to hold. I'm probably going to have to get one of those like pop sockets or something on the back just so I can hold this dang thing.
They make pop sockets that connect over MagSafe now, and it's just like a little round thing that just sticks on the back. I've heard they're excellent. I'm going to buy one for my wife.
I might have to look into that because I'm also waiting for my favorite case, the Rhino Shield Crash Guard bumper case, to get updated for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. They do have one already available on Amazon, which is the fastest they've ever had one available, but it's only in lavender, and I'm like, yeah, that's not the look for me. So I'm waiting for them to upgrade. What I'm definitely not going to be doing is getting the Finewoven case. We don't need to move there yet. I mean, I do think that there are some substantial upgrades for the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I totally get if you are coming from an iPhone 14 Pro, you're like, yeah, it's not enough for me. That totally makes sense. That's one of the reasons why I didn't move to the 14 Pro, because of the same reason, because every year the upgrades usually aren't huge enough. I have a feeling next year's iPhone is going to be a big one, and there's going to be a lot of new features in there that are going to be more substantial than the ones we've gotten this year, and that will probably be when I switch back and go to a regular size phone. But that gimbal shot, if we can go back to this gimbal shot, that's crazy good stabilization. Do I have it up still? No, I think I closed it. And it is one of the things I'm excited to test out because stabilization is really important. I've been doing a ton of stabilization research. I can't even believe that this is a thing that I've been doing with different cameras. And most cameras lack very good stabilization. Like the gold standard that I have found is GoPro. Their stabilization is the absolute best. And it's not just like when you're panning. You could be running and it looks like you're holding that camera on a gimbal. By the way, if you're not aware, like a gimbal is something that's used to stabilize video on a camera, something that Hollywood uses all the time. So like when Harrison Ford, when he used to be running, down a corridor or something, like if you run with a camera, it bounces up and down. It looks terrible. But if you have a gimbal, it absorbs all of that movement and your shot is just steady and smooth. And the iPhone is getting a lot better.
The more it'll shake as well.
And that's true. The more you zoomed in, the more it shakes. So the fact that he was able to hold this shot and have it be so smooth, dude, I can't believe I closed this, is really impressive. But he also wasn't moving. Like I would be more impressed if he was walking and it was staying that stable. Like when you're just panning, a lot of cameras can hold or have pretty good stabilization when you're just panning from left to right, up and down. They don't get super shaky, even with a long telephoto lens. Like the test is if you're running or walking with the camera, and is it shaking all around? Like is everything getting blurry because it's like bouncing and smearing all over the screen? That's what GoPro can do, and they are the best at it that I've seen, like bar none. They are so incredibly good at stabilization. I don't know why other manufacturers can't emulate what they're doing. Like if Apple could build that in, or if Sony could build that into one of their cameras, that would be game changing. Like you wouldn't have to use a gimbal anymore. Anyway, I'm geeking out on cameras. I actually really love cameras a lot. I've completely lost our place.
I have one more point to mention.
Okay, go for it.
This is another quote from Gruber's review regarding the action button. Lewis mentioned last week, I don't know how useful it's going to be because I can't decide like any one thing that I'd want the action button to do forever. He apparently had the same problem, and he wrote, I'm a bit torn between assigning my action button to act as a mute switch or as a camera launcher, which brings me to another intriguing option, shortcuts. I created a simple workflow in Shortcuts that shows a menu with 3 options, photo, video, and mute/unmute. So if you can't decide, you just create a shortcut that gives you like all 3 options that you want. And then when you press the action button, you just, tap the one action you want on screen. That's supposedly that, that's a great way to action pack your action button.
I thought Gruber wasn't upgrading. I thought you just said he wasn't going to upgrade.
Well, he got the review unit. That's what I said.
Oh, we got the review unit, but he's not going to buy one. Got it. He's part of the Access cohort.
I don't know if he said he's not going to buy one. He's just hoping that next year the regular Pro phones get the
Okay,
5X
maybe I
camera as well.
misheard you. I thought you
Because
said that he wasn't. I thought that was weird. I was like, really? I thought he would just upgrade every year. I mean, he's got the money to do it.
he's probably not buying the Pro Max phones. I think he's, from what I've read in the past, he doesn't like the giant biggest phone.
Yeah, man, it's definitely a burden. It's definitely a burden. Okay, well, one other cool feature of the iPhone 15. I'm sending this to you here, Lewis, before we talk about Finewoven cases. And this is something that Apple touched on, the repairability of iPhone 15. It actually makes a big difference, surprisingly.
Yeah. So this started last year with the 14. They started making it more repairable, and iFixit, you know, DIY experts, iFixit, called last year's phone most repairable iPhone in years. But this year it's even, you know, it's coming to 15. It's even like better. And now, listen to this. Thanks to underlying chassis improvements, replacing the iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max's broken rear glass costs less than previous iPhones. So this year, with this phone, $169 to replace the iPhone Pro's rear glass. iPhone Pro Max, $199. But you know, that sounds like a chunk of money. But when you consider how much it cost last year it was $499 for the iPhone 14 Pro, or $549 for the Pro Max. That's a crazy difference. So it's all about making it easier to replace, right? And if you look at, like, the first, oddly enough, today the first teardown video came out and basically said, yeah, look how much easier it is to take this thing apart and replace all this stuff. So it's kind of awesome that they're making these much more repairable. And I mean, people have been on them, like iFixit's been on this, you know, right to repair thing, right? They want you to be able to just pop open your iPhone and replace it, everything. And I mean, honestly, I can't imagine ever getting comfortable enough to do that, because it just sounds scary to me.
To do it yourself?
But, yeah.
I think it's a terrible idea.
Like, I was looking into AirPods Pro, right? Because I have the AirPods Pro 1, and the battery life is garbage at this point. And I looked at how much it costs to take it into Apple. It's a lot of money. But you can buy the parts to replace it for, like, I think the battery is like $15 each. And for the case, maybe it's $25, right? So for, what is that, $50 or something, you could have all new batteries in your phone. But then it's like, oh, well, but you got to buy this, like, well, you don't have to, but you could buy this like $30 jig that you can put them in there, so it's easier to pry it open. And then you have to solder these little things. I could just imagine what a mess I could make of it. You know, it just sounds terrible. So you know what I did? I went to Best Buy and bought the AirPods Pro 2 with USB-C case for $199. I can't believe that. Already on sale before things even hit the store. $200.
So they're $50 off. That's
Yeah.
pretty crazy that they're doing
That's
that
a
already.
crazy
Yeah.
pre-order deal. When I saw that, I was like, I could not stop myself.
That is interesting. Yeah, go ahead, Griffin.
I've repaired a few iPhones in my day. I would
Really?
never dare repairing AirPods. Those things they are meant to be like glued together and never be opened again by another man.
Yeah.
Like,
That's right.
What did you fix on an iPhone?
I fixed my. Oh, I have it right here. Oh yeah. Oh, it's right here. I replaced the Lightning connector on my iPhone 5S.
Wow.
Which I actually did after I replaced it with my iPhone 7 Plus, but I still wanted it to work, and now it still works to this day. I replaced the display on an iPhone 4S for one of my friends who was like a Luddite and wanted to keep holding on to his iPhone 4S. I replaced the battery in my mom's iPhone 10.
Wow.
I feel like I've done a couple other ones. But, you know, the thing is, it always goes back and forth on those iPhones, whether you had to open them from the front or you had to open them from the back. And I think I got the short end of the stick for every single one of those repairs. Like, I had to open it from the opposite end and take the whole dang thing apart just to replace the display, because the back panel comes off on the 4S. You know, the opposite situation on the iPhone 10. But the great thing about these new phones is that you can open them from either side of the glass. Like, you know, both sides sandwich into the metal frame in the middle. They started that design on the iPhone 14 last year, but now all of the phones this year have that. That's part of why the costs are so much lower this time around.
So I'm just curious, how long would you say each of those repairs took you?
I go very slowly and methodically, so
I'm
they're
sure you'd
probably
have to.
about 90-minute affairs each.
Wow.
Somebody in the chat just asked, "Is Griffin Lewis from the past?" And I was looking at you guys, and your glasses shapes are like the same. And I was like, let's see here, a little less hair on the top of Griffin's head. Oh my goodness, is this a so this is a brain melter? Like
We
you
are
guys
both
do
from
kind of.
Ohio.
You're both from Ohio.
Pretty shallow
I've,
gene
I've
pool
been
back
drafting some Time Machine,
It's
ideas.
like that movie with Bruce Willis and oh god, what was the name of the movie where he has like his self from the past has to like come and kill like his self from the future.
Looper?
Looper.
No.
Looper, dude, you better be careful, Lewis. Oh man, yeah, I've repaired an iPhone or two in my day. I mean, look, if you can do it and you don't really want to spend the money to get it fixed, I mean, I think it's an option, man. But it's daunting for sure. And anything that is glued together or requires soldering, to quote the great philosopher, that's gonna be a no from me, dog. Like that's a whole next level. If I just have to unscrew some things and disconnect some cables and that type of thing, I could usually figure that out. I'm usually okay with that. But when you get glue involved or you get soldering involved, that's a whole different type of repair. And soldering is not easy. It is a skilled trade. Like I once soldered this Xbox actually behind me. I replaced or added a board, like a little chip in it that let me like hack the motherboard and install Linux. And these the soldering joints I put on there were the most hideous, nasty. They would have made a Foxconn employee cry. That's how bad they were. They were just like mountains of like gross solder collapsing on itself, but it worked. It did work.
Can you imagine soldering something inside an AirPod, a little thin plastic AirPod?
You'd have to have like those like magnification glasses on, like what like, and a light
completely
connected to
melted.
it. Yeah.
Ugh,
All right.
terrible.
Look, let's see here.
We got to mention something before we move on.
We got all sorts of stuff to mention here, Lewis.
If you don't want to break your glass on your iPhone, what do you need? You need a case and you need a screen protector. And if you go to cultamac.com, we've got a couple of roundups up today. Best iPhone cases, iPhone 15 cases, best I can't even talk anymore. Best screen protectors for iPhone 15. I think you have links in there you could share with people.
Yeah, I'll drop these in the chat.
Of
If you guys
course,
want to
if
check
you-
this out, yeah.
Of course, if you click the link through our website, we're going to make a little bit of money, which helps us keep the lights on. That's fantastic. But Killian, if you remember Killian Bell, he popped back in and did these roundups for us. He moved on to an actual high-paying job a while back, but he's still part of the Cult of Mac team. And so it was nice to see Killian dive in and do some accessory roundups. He's got a couple more on the way in the next couple days.
What if you want a bad case, Lewis? What can you buy then?
I have no idea where you could find one of those. And by the way,
I got an idea
this
for you.
case is actually on his list of best iPhone cases as like the best official Apple one. So let's see if your evaluation of it matches up with his.
Oh
Well,
man. Yeah, go for it. You want actually? Let me see here. Yeah, go for it. Let's just talk about the Finewoven case. This is as good a
Okay.
spot as any because I don't know, man. I mean, replacing leather, a premium material, with this Finewoven material, which is essentially a plastic thread, is baffling, and the case quality is not impressing people.
This is from Allison Johnson at The Verge. This is just prepare yourself for this headline. I wish I could write a headline like this. The new Finewoven iPhone cases are very bad.
Simple declarative
is it-
sentence.
Yep. Folks, what you've heard so far is true. Apple's new Finewoven iPhone cases and accessories are bad. Like, really bad. 7 days later, I still can't make sense of them. She continues, if I'm putting one of these cases on my phone, I'm inevitably going to scratch it on accident with a jagged fingernail edge, or it's going to come in contact with my car keys. And when you scratch the Finewoven, the results are seemingly permanent. Nilay Patel picked one up and ran his fingernails across it, and that was all it took to leave a
Look at
trail of
those
scuffs
scratches
on the
all over
fabric.
it. Mm-hmm.
The scratches are still there a week later.
Fingernail scratches.
What a beautiful
Yeah.
patina, just like leather. Oh, by the way, the Finewoven cases, the same price as leather. I mean, that was the other big bungle here. Like, not only did you get rid of a product you never should have gotten rid of and replace it with a product that's not as sustainable as the one that you got rid of, but you kept the same premium price tag. So now, instead of having a beautiful leather case, you have a plastic case, but it's the same price. Like, what were they thinking?
It's not plastic. It's polyester.
I mean, it's made of nylon and it's made out of
Polyester is
polyester.
what it says.
Yeah, what
Huh?
is polyester? It's plastic.
Yeah, it's not a material that anybody is excited about, is it? Polyester.
I mean,
Remember when
unless
that was
you're
like
wearing
a
bell
dirty
bottoms.
word?
You're wearing bell bottoms and you're ready to go to Studio 54,
Yeah,
which probably described you in that area, didn't it?
Yeah, right.
Anyway, sorry, Griffin. Go ahead. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that. That is wild. Look at all those scratches all over that thing. That looks terrible.
Oh man.
She
Yeah.
says, maybe Finewoven would be acceptable in a less expensive case, or maybe if Apple had never called it durable, I could accept it. But for $59 on a phone case that needs to stand up to daily abuse, absolutely not. And you touched on the the environment is a big part of this. The thing is, like, I was thinking about this since we talked about this last week. Like, making an environmentally friendly product is not just like a one-dimensional thing. Like, the thing is about the Finewoven cases that they replace the leather ones, and the cows that go into the production of that leather. She says, I mean, they're a significant source of methane. The methane that cows emit by like burping and farting as they have to, grow before they're killed and tanned and turned into meat is like actually one of the worst sources of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Like, the methane that comes from cows is worse than CO2. It stays in the atmosphere longer, even though there are more, cars than cows. The methane that cows emit is pretty bad for the environment. And, even though the Finewoven cases don't, it's a trade-off. It's very hard to make something that ticks all of the boxes, that is both carbon neutral and, zero emissions. Like, those are not necessarily the same problems to solve. So I don't think that they're completely misguided in replacing leather. Like, I think it's, I don't know, I don't think they could have kept selling the leather cases forever. But that being
it's a nice
said,
pose. We don't have leather anymore because we're so green.
But the thing is, that doesn't change the fact that the Finewoven cases are apparently terrible.
Yeah, man. I mean, so I had a disheartening realization yesterday. I was looking for a new color MagSafe wallet, which I've grown to love, actually. My leather MagSafe wallet is really beautiful. And then I realized, oh, they don't sell them anymore. It's not just the cases, it's the wallets too. And I don't want a Finewoven case. Look at this thing. It doesn't look anywhere near as good. It clearly shows scratches way worse. And the other thing I bet you that we haven't even heard about yet, but I think we will, is I bet you this thing stains like a mofo. Leather, if you put it on a dirty surface, you just wipe it off afterwards. This, I bet you will get stained. And once it soaks in, you will never get this thing clean. It's going to look like, you fished it out of a garbage can or something. So I don't know, man. I mean, look, I'm no climate expert. All I know is leather is a natural material that biodegrades. The cows are going to get used either way. People eat cows for meat. It's not like they're growing cows just for their skin. People eat cows. And so all the parts of the cow get used in all these different ways. And so will this move even help with methane emission? I don't know. If you're worried about methane, I think we need to go round up Lewis Wallace and Leander Caney for sure. And take care of them as well. Sorry, Griffin, go ahead.
On the scale that Apple is making leather cases, I imagine quite a few cows will actually be saved here, because they were sourcing these from specifically a leather tannery in Italy or something. And not only that, but they highly processed their leather after they got it in. Like, normal leather, if you buy a traditionally handmade leather wallet or a leather watch band or something like that, it has the stitching all along the edges of it. Apple's they run it through a manufacturing process where they give it a specific texture and they flatten it and they stamp it and
it is beautiful.
Make it that uniform.
It's a really nice leather.
It is really nice leather. But the thing is, it's like the leather industry points to the meat industry as be like, see, the cows are going to be used either way, and then the meat industry points back to the leather industry and they say, see, we're consuming just as much cows. Like,
no one is killing a cow to make an iPhone case.
Yeah. Well,
no one is killing a cow for its skin.
I don't know. I feel like they're going to be in perfect lockstep until the demand for one gets lower than the other, you know?
Yeah, I don't know, man. This could lead into a whole other conversation that we don't have time to have. All I'll say is this was not the move. I mean, moving from leather, which was durable and beautiful and easy to maintain, it lasts for years, it has a beautiful patina. You scratch it and it's like, whoa, it looks better. It's like Harrison Ford. It gets better with age, you know? That guy looks better now than he did when he was in his 30s. Like, I don't know what deal with the devil he made, but he should not look that good for 81. And then you look at the Finewoven, and it's like, whoa, you got Steve Buscemi here. What's going on? You know, like...
Weren't you kind of shocked? I mean, like when they're talking about Apple is going to move away from leather, and they're going to replace it. The initial rumor was, they're going to replace it with like this really premium faux leather, pleather kind of stuff, like you see in car interiors that basically is indistinguishable from leather.
Yeah.
And then you see this Finewoven thing. I mean, I don't even like the way it looks in the marketing pictures. I can't imagine what it's going to look like in real life.
I don't
and
either.
Like
it looks like it almost looks like velvet.
You know what I kept as I was reading all these reviews talking about how horrible it is, I just kept wondering, like, okay, if your fingers scratch it, what does that sound like? I bet it's going to sound almost like fingernails on a chalkboard. It's going to feel, the opposite, whatever the opposite of premium is. That's what this sounds like is going to feel like. Just like almost like a rug burn on your finger. I mean, who knows? I have a hard time believing Apple does that bad of a job with anything, but those pictures look pretty terrible. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to buy one of these to check it out, but I might have to just to have my own personal experience with what exactly it feels like.
The one other thing that I would mention that we obviously can't communicate just by looking at pictures is how many people have said that the case feels cheap, and it doesn't feel like a $59 case. And I think that's another big part of this is Apple doesn't want to decrease their profit margin, obviously, and they have us all price anchored for these products. So they're charging the same price as leather, but these are not in the same class as leather products. This product is a creation of a marketing department. You know what I mean? It looks fine, but the marketing department is trying their best to equate this to a premium product. And the cold hard fact of the matter is it's not. It's not the same as leather. It doesn't look as good as leather. It doesn't have the longevity of leather. It doesn't have the maintainability of leather. I mean, it's just not there. And so if they were going to charge like $29.99 for these, I think that's more reasonable. But they don't want to do that. So they're going to charge a premium price for a product that, at least to me, doesn't seem like it's actually premium. And the fact that you can scratch it with your fingernail, and for those of you listening, I'm showing a picture of the case, it is extremely scratched up. Like think about it this way. You scratch your leg, and sometimes like when you scratch it, there's like white streaks left behind from all the dead skin. That's what this case looks like, except those white streaks never go away. They're always there. And they do not look nice. They look like the case has been, I don't know, tossed around. It looks like it's been scratched up, and those scratches never go away. So not a good look in my case, or in my estimation. Look, I'm sorry we went way too long on this, but I hope I save you all money. I would never recommend, from what we've seen so far, I would never recommend these Finewoven cases. The one other thing I wanted to mention just real fast, because I forgot to, and we have it in the title, so I have to at least mention it. Scratchgate. iPhone 15
PrintGate.
Pro Scratchgate. Or not Scratchgate, PrintGate, sorry.
Come on, bud.
So, PrintGate, this popped up on Twitter this week. You all are on X. Let me see if I can find this. Let me go to x.com, and I'll show you. Is it x.com now? It is, but it automatically forwards to
Twitter still.
So a lot of people were commenting on this picture. It's been going around everywhere. This picture right here. So you can see these are the 15 Pro titanium bands, and they are just absolutely covered, smothered with dirt and fingerprints. And these images were circulating like crazy, like, this PVD coating on the iPhone. This is a big problem, right? Like, look how nasty and smudged they are. And I'm like, dude, I don't know. This is so perfectly timed. I have a Apple Watch Ultra. It's titanium. It looks spotless. Doesn't look like this at all. And then people started commenting, well, it doesn't have the PVD coating. Okay, fair enough. But whatever is actually the truth about these phones, I can't believe that it's going to look like this after some length of time. I mean, first of all, this was probably a unit that was being touched by the press. I'm going to guess that the fingerprints that were left behind were probably easy to see on the phone, on the frame of the phone, but that this picture was either enhanced in Photoshop or the phone just sharpened the image. Someone took a picture of this with their phone and the phone sharpens the image, and so it looks like this. I do not believe that this is going to be the state of your phone after you use it for a month. There's just no way.
Or a day.
I just don't believe it. I mean, Apple would have figured that out by now. They clearly tested this phone for a long time. This would have become obvious very quickly. So it probably wipes off. And if it doesn't wipe off, I don't think it probably gets this bad at any point. I just can't
It
believe it.
can't be worse than the 12 Pro. That thing is a fingerprint magnet.
Yeah. I feel like we hear this every year about at least one Apple product. Look how much of a fingerprint magnet it is. But these photos make it look like the phone was sprayed with alien blood and they're just corroding away, you know? And
it looks discolored.
Looks discolored.
Not just fingerprinted.
It looks terrible. And I've seen some reviews where you can see a light patina like this on the phone, but then it wipes off. So I just don't think that this is actually going to be a problem. And from what I've seen so far, it's more of a problem on the dark phones than it is on the Au Naturel titanium phone, which is why you should have gotten that phone. And by the way, the wait times for the color phones is at least a few weeks shorter than for the natural titanium frame. So that one seems to be the more popular one anyway. But I don't know, man. Again, my Apple Watch Ultra doesn't have the PVD coating, admittedly, but it looks perfect. And my hands are often moist when I touch it. And it looks brand new. Like I almost never even have to wipe it off because it just doesn't retain fingerprints very well. So I find it hard to believe that we're in for some major scandal of fingerprint coverage on the iPhone Pro titanium bands. Did you guys hear about this week? Or was it just me? I guess Griffin didn't because, yeah, look at this post got almost 800,000 views.
What was the PrintGate scuttlebutt on Mastodon?
I didn't hear anything about it.
Oh, nothing?
Oh, totally siloed.
And, you know, here's the other thing, too. Like, I hate to be a pessimist, but Twitter pays people now for engagement. And so you get a post like this where you have a bunch of people retweeting it, commenting. You make money off of it. So people are incentivized to create posts that will gain attention. And I'm not saying that this person did that, but there are people out there that will actually try to make news to get more clicks on their videos, get more clicks on X. So I guess I hesitate to believe something like this is actually real, and I don't think it is.
It's really great using a non-commercial social media product.
Yeah, well, you didn't even hear about this at all.
Yeah, because it's not an important story. That
Yeah, it may not be.
It
may not be. But I did at least want to mention it because this blew up on X this week. Okay, look, I've completely lost our place. Oh, actually, you know what? Hold on.
It's back to you.
Before we move on, let's say you are buying the iPhone and you're worried about fingerprints. Don't be.
I knew it.
Don't be. Here's why. I've got your solution right here. The CultCloth, baby. There's never been a better time to buy a CultCloth. These things will keep your iPhone 15 Pro, your Pro Max sparkling clean. You'll be surprised every time you use them, just like I am, at how well they work. This is a product I launched in 2015, if you can believe it. And still to this day, I had this guy on Twitter try to tell me that his cloth was premium grade. Actually, he didn't say that. He just said, our cloths are pretty nice. And I'm like, get out of my face. What do you know about premium grade? Nothing. I have literally never seen a product that works as well as CultCloth. This is why I sell them, because there is nothing else out there that I've seen that's like it. They are made from a special fiber. It goes through this process. Like a lot of machines that mill the fiber for cleaning cloths are like $100,000 machines. The machines that create the CultCloth Duo, they're like $1 million machines. And why is that? Because they put the fiber through an extra special process that breaks it down, which drastically increases the surface area. And you can feel it work. Like when you rub the CultCloth on your fingertips, you can actually feel it grabbing onto your tips, man. It will clean your fingertips. Your fingertips will look absolutely sparkling clean after you clear out your nostril, rub it on the CultCloth, clean it off. And you can use it on your phone. You can use it on your glasses. You can use it on any of your premium devices, and it will leave nothing behind but sparkling glass and metal. Sparkling glass and metal, I should say. Head to cultcloth.co. if you want to pick some up for yourself, CultCloth.co. Use code CultCast at checkout, and for any order $20 plus, you'll get 2 free carry cloths, which are premium grade carry cloths that I keep in my sunglass cases and just take with me everywhere. You'll get 2 of those instead of 1. Plus, you're supporting me, you're supporting the show, and these will surprise you for years and years. They just work better than anything else. Plus, they're large. They're not small and teensy like the ones you buy from Amazon. It's like, oh, it's so dainty. It fits in the palm of your hand. Whoops, now when you're wiping down your phone, you accidentally smudge it with your palm because it doesn't cover your whole hand. These cover your whole hand, even if you have large in-charge hands like mine. And you'll just have all your stuff stay in really tip-top shape, which is what I do. CultCloth.co, CultCloth.co. Let's move on. Is it going back to me? Oh, yeah.
It sure is.
iPhone 15 Pro features. Okay, let's run through these really fast because we're starting to run low on time. Let me see here. I wanted to run you through some features that are coming to iPhone 15 Pro, and this conclusively proves that TC not only listens to the show, he takes notes, and he's passing these around internally at Apple. And here's one of them. When I saw this, I couldn't believe it. iPhone 15 models feature new setting to strictly prevent charging beyond 80%. This is coming to iPhone 15 and Pro models. Now, this isn't exactly what I advocated for here on the show, but this is going to be a game changer if you want to prolong the life of your battery. So not your battery state, not your battery charge, but the life of your battery, over the years. And I hope they bring this to the Mac because this is sorely needed. So all the iPhone 15 and 15 Pro models feature a new battery health setting that prevents the devices from charging beyond 80% at all times when enabled. I probably don't need to rephrase that, but I will. So your device will never charge beyond 80%. It will always just stay at 80% or below. Why 80%? Because charging your device past 80% more quickly degrades the battery capacity over time. So if you want to maintain your battery capacity, and for a lot of us, if you're just going to be at home all day and you're like me, you have to charge your phone multiple times a day, this is going to keep your battery from degrading as fast. This setting is separate from the pre-existing optimized battery charging feature on phones, which intelligently delays charging past 80%. I don't like this feature anyway, the optimized battery charging feature, because it tries to figure it out for you. And really what they need to do is give us the ability to schedule when we want our phone to be below 80% at all times, and then when we're okay with it being charged past 80%, and not try to figure it out for us. That's the final form of this. But if you're someone that likes to maintain the battery capacity as long as possible, then you'll be able to churn this feature on in iPhone 15 models. It's only iPhone 15 models and Pro models, by the way. This isn't going to come, at least it doesn't seem like anytime soon, to 14, 13, 12s or anything else. So this is only for iPhone 15 and Pro models. Very cool feature to maintain the capacity of your battery life. Let's see here. What's next here? Oh yeah. Well, I won't go out of order here. Let me see what's next. Yes, the long-awaited answer to the question: what happens if you plug an iPhone 15 into another iPhone 15? Well, my friends, we now have the answer thanks to Marquez Brownlee. He actually tried this out in his review. So when you plug 2 iPhone 15s in via USB-C, they have a conversation with each other, and they say, "Hey, I'm at 75%. What are you at?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm only at 40." Well, guess what? The battery that has the higher charge state will start to charge the other phone, and will keep charging that phone even when the phone providing the power falls below the phone taking the power. So it will do that until the other phone is completely charged, or until the phone that's providing the charge dies. So that's what happens when you plug in 2 iPhones. I thought they would explode and spray shrapnel everywhere like a Samsung Galaxy Note, but apparently not. So there's your answer to that question. You can also charge an Android phone if it supports this feature. Otherwise, it won't work. And I forget what the feature's called. It's actually a standard across phones.
That sounds odd.
Yeah. Doesn't that seem like it's
weird?
Is a bastardization of natural laws? It seems like it shouldn't work like that.
It ought to be illegal, at least in some states.
It might be, Lewis. We don't know that it's not. Is there one other? Oh, yeah. The one other one I wanted to mention. So, I can't believe it's current year and we don't have this yet, but it's coming. iPhone 15 displays how many times its battery has been charged. So, if you want to see how many times your battery has actually been charged, so you can see how many charge cycles you might have left, or if you're buying a phone, this might be useful. Apple is now going to show that on iPhone 15 phones. Let's see here. All you have to do is go to Settings, General, About, and it will show the battery charge cycle count in the settings now. So you won't need an app like Coconut Battery, which we've recommended in the past, which actually is a great app and will allow you to see the charge cycles for a MacBook Pro. It will allow you to see the charge cycles for your iPad, and it's currently the only way to do it for those devices. If you want to do it for iPhone 15, you won't need a special app to do that anymore. You can just go look. So that's pretty useful as well. So there you go. There's some cool hidden features that we didn't know were coming to the iPhone 15. I'm sure we'll have more of these in the future. Let's go ahead and move on and talk about iOS 17 now. Griffin did a great piece on Cult of Mac. The 50 top features you should try. I'm trying to find this in iOS 17. And I was like, dude, we don't have time to go through 50. Let's cut it down to 45 maybe. So he's going to run through the list. Hopefully, maybe the top 5, Griffin. How many do you have here?
I don't know. I just put some in the notes. We'll go through.
Oh, let's just run through them real fast.
Until you cut me off.
These are things that you should definitely try out.
Yeah. So if you've updated iOS 17 and maybe you forgot some of the top features since WWDC, like or at least some of the more detailed ones. There's the top features that I'm not going to explain again that we all know. Name drop, that's the one where you can just tap your phone against another phone running iOS 17 and exchange your contact information. There's the contact posters, live voicemail. I've already covered those in the past. These are some of the smaller details that you might forget that are new, that you may have heard back a few months ago to refresh your memory. I'm going to start in the middle of this list here. You can convert a list in reminders into a groceries list. I use this all the time now.
Really?
So if you have a list in reminders that you use for your groceries, you can tap the sort of the 3 dots menu on the top, tap show list info, and you can check that it's a grocery list. And then it'll automatically look at the items in the list and sort them into different store categories like produce, meat, bakery, frozen foods, pet care, so you can have an easier time getting around the store there. It's probably not going to be perfect for your store, but it gives you a little map in your head of your time in the store. In Find My, you can share an AirTag with someone else in your family and save them from all those incessant warnings that your wife is stalking you because you have her pair of keys with an AirTag on them. So you go to the Find My app. I mean, this should have been in there day one, right? You go to the Find My app, the items tab. You tap on one of your items that's an AirTag, and there's just a share button that you can tap and send an invitation over iMessage or something. This is one that might save your skin. If you change your passcode, but you forget what you changed it to, you can still unlock your phone using your old passcode for up to 3 days.
Oh, whoa.
That's a weird one. I never even heard of that one.
Yeah, this happened to me one time. I changed my passcode to a complicated alphanumeric one, and then an hour later or so, I typed it in again, and I found out that I misremembered it. So I had to go through a whole rigmarole of resetting my phone and restoring from an iCloud backup.
That's actually quite genius, I have to say.
Yeah. So now you can use your old passcode if you forget your new one. And you might be thinking, oh, well, what if I intentionally want to change my passcode because, someone knows what my old one is? You can immediately expire your old passcode as well right after you change it. If you're worried about security in that way. I just used this earlier this week. If you open up a PDF form inside Notes or Mail or Preview on the Mac, there's a new button you can press that'll turn on this form filling mode. It'll detect all of the text fields, and you can just tap on any of them and type in text right away.
Oh, dude, that's super useful.
You don't have to use markup and manually move the little text fields around. It'll just do it automatically. You can just click to fill in a checkbox. It has a little button where you can just add your signature on a signature line. It's incredibly useful. And in a future update, it'll autofill that information as well, just like it does in Safari. I'll run through a few more here. If you use the Photos lock screen, it's kind of a mixed bag because, you probably have a few favorite pictures of your partner, your human child, your dog that you want to use on your lock screen. But the thing is, the clock and especially if you use widgets on your lock screen, it takes up so much vertical space. It's really hard to find a good picture to frame in that sort of like really, really weird space, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now when you're putting a photo on your lock screen, you can just drag it down and your phone will like fill in using like this AI fill thing on the top half of it, and it'll just like, put on this big blur effect.
Huh.
So if you have like a favorite picture of your dog, but like maybe the picture was taken landscape, so there's not enough room above the dog to make room for the clock, well, you can just drag it down and it'll fill it in and blur it and make it look nice.
That's interesting. Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I use that. In mail, this is like a how did they go so long without having this? If you're composing an email on your iPhone, before there was no way to like select a line of text and add an inline link, like a URL to a piece of text. Now it's there. You just select a line of text, and now there's a new like add link button that you can press on the little pop-up menu there.
You're right. That is surprising.
That's a great one. Yeah. In last one, you can find the rest of the list on cultofmac.com. It was the top story this week. If you're in the weather app, you can look at yesterday's weather if you tap on any of the widget fields. It's a simple one, but it's great.
I always want to know what the weather was like when the day is over. I'm like, oh, like I'm just interested in weather. I mean, there's just those of us out there that are interested in weather. There's nothing to be ashamed about. And I'd like to know, hey, what was the weather this morning or yesterday? And I like past weather. Sometimes I'll go on the web and I'll just browse the weather. I like to know what's going on.
Are you the level of weather nerd where you've considered getting your own like home weather station?
I have considered it, but I've never purchased one. But I have considered it. And dude, there are people out there, like weather's a thing that people are interested in. There are some people on YouTube, and all they do is talk about weather patterns. They're like amateur weather guys, weather people. And they get huge views, man. They'll get like 1 million views. And this one guy in particular, I can't remember his name. He's like, big storm front coming through the Midwest. And he has a picture of it, and his video will get like 1 million views. I'm like, this is crazy, man. People love to know what's going on with the weather.
Well, if you're curious, I think Jason Snell's written up a bunch of articles on how he runs his own weather station and makes it work with like the weather app and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
That is a level of nerdery that even I will not approach.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm there yet either. I just like to know, like, what's the temperature? I got a bunch of hydrometers in my house so I can know, like, how moist the air is, what the temperatures are. It tracks them over time. I love that stuff, dude. I don't know why. It's a weird thing to be into, and I do like it. Okay, let's see here. We got Level Remix saying, just wondering, are you guys getting the iPhone 15 Pro? Oh, you're probably asking in the chat. Me and Lewis are getting the Max. We're going Max. We're Max guys. We're Max guys now. Although we probably won't be after this generation.
There's a 2-week return policy, right? So
yeah, that is true. Although I don't know if I've committed myself beyond just the 2 weeks, because I said that I would buy whatever. Although I didn't say I wouldn't return it. Wouldn't return it. So yeah, I did say I would buy it.
I think our Culted Mac lawyers can get you out of this.
All right. All right. Let's see here. Let's talk about. Okay, right. So we talked about the iOS 17 features you should check out. Here are some that you may have been eager to try out. These are iOS 17 features and iPad 17 features that aren't going to be arriving until later this year. Take it away, Lewis.
Yeah, just a few little things. AirDrop file transfers over the internet. This is when you like start an AirDrop thing and, wander away. I guess if they're both signed into iCloud, it can, just continue over the internet. So that's great. AirDrop is an awesome feature. I think it's probably underutilized by people. I mean, I run into people all the time who like don't even know it exists. I'm like, wow, it's such a cool feature. Now this one's heartbreaking. Apple's new journal app, not quite ready for prime time.
Hey, you know what? This is one that I was actually really looking forward to.
Are you?
Yep. I feel like this, like I have wanted to journal, but I'm not going to write out Dear Diary on a piece of paper. But the idea of being able to like document things that have happened, especially with my kids over time, I find that to be something that I would actually use. And I don't want to pay for a journaling app, so this is appealing to me. I'm
kind of, just being a jerk about it because it actually sounds like a pretty well thought out thing, right? Like, yeah, it's gonna say, oh, here's a place where you were today. Do you want to note this? Here's a photo that you took today. Do you want to include this? So it's gonna make it easy to, like you're saying, document what you did. And I think it actually, the idea of like, oh yeah, long 1890s style journal is not what this is about. It's more like, hey, we went to the barbecue festival today and ate some cows. And won't those make great iPhone cases, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing. You have a
That's
picture
what Lewis
of the
thinks
cow.
about when he goes to the barbecue. You know
Let's
what,
see,
man? Life comes at you fast, and it's easy to forget things that have happened, especially when you have kids. It's like all of a sudden you have a kid, and then all of a sudden they're 9, and it's like, whoa, what has happened over the last 9 years? It'd be really
Sure.
cool to go back and read about things that you thought were special. Anyway,
And sure, you have like the pictures in your photo library, but it's so easy to forget the context of the
Yeah,
picture. Like,
totally.
you have a picture of like, you and a friend by a waterfall or something like that. And it's like, okay, well, like, but what was the hike like?
Yeah.
Well, what was the weather like that day?
Griffin
What was
gets
the-
How sweaty was I today in Ohio? What was the humidity
Exactly.
level? So one of the things that and this sounds actually like it would be very interesting for this, but I like when I go out of the country or around the country, traveling, and like, oh, you go to this restaurant, you like to remember what it is, right? I use this app called Swarm. It used to be called Foursquare. I use this now. Like I try to check in at
Oh my
restaurants.
goodness, that's still around.
Yeah, it is. And I can't get rid of it because like I'm like, oh, what was the name of the when a friend of mine says, hey, I'm going to Orvieto. What's the name of the can you recommend a restaurant? You've been there. I'm like, oh God, there was this really great restaurant, but it's an Italian. So it doesn't mean anything to me. I can't even begin to tell you what the name of it is. So I would go into Swarm, search through the map, find a thing. I find the thing that where I checked in, right? It's like, oh, here's what it is. Which is not a great way of keeping track of things. So, for instance, if this journal app works, and like, what if you you take a picture of your meal or the restaurant or whatever, and it says, oh, do you want to add this to your journal? Yeah, I ate here, and if I'm guessing right, this will probably, and I have not used this, it's not available yet, but I bet you it makes it very easy to search, right? With Swarm, you have to like go in and drag this little map around and zoom into different parts of a city or town or whatever. So this might be actually really great kind of a thing that could be useful and unexpected.
And it doesn't have a
unexpected ways.
subscription fee like so many journal apps do. So, okay, let's keep
Yeah.
it moving.
You don't want to keep talking about the journal app that didn't
I
hear
do,
yet?
but we're starting to run low on
Come
time. I'm starting to get anxious.
Coming
What do
later
we got?
this year.
We got 2
This one also
stories
sounds
left.
good to me. Collaborative playlists in Apple Music, delayed, coming a little later. Not that much later, but a little later. AirPlay in hotel rooms, which actually also sounds like an awesome thing. Like you're sitting in a hotel room, you
Super
want to
useful.
watch something from Apple TV Plus. If the TV is right, you just AirPlay right to it. Apple ID proximity sign in,
Super useful.
which, what?
Super
What?
useful feature.
Yeah, I don't even it lets you sign into a new device by bringing your existing device closer. I don't even actually understand.
Yeah,
what that
so you
means.
buy a new Apple TV. I just did this. I
Yeah.
bought that Apple TV deal from Costco. They were selling the brand new Apple TV with 128 gigs of storage for $100.
Yeah.
And I had to sign into it when I was setting it up. How handy would it be if I just had to hover my phone near it and boom, I was just automatically signed in?
Oh, so you don't have to type in your
Yeah, you don't have to do anything.
complicated-
You just-
oh no,
you
that
just-
sounds awesome. They should fast track this one. I agree, 100%. Let me see what else we have here. The catch up arrow for group conversations in the Messages app, a favorite songs playlist in the Music app. Actually, I thought that. Oh no, it's songs you might like, isn't it? Not favorite song.
Yeah.
And enhanced autofill for PDF. So there's a lot of stuff to learn in iOS 17, but there's more on the way.
The catch-up arrow is a weird one. That was in like the first few betas of the phone, but it didn't work quite right. And it's like, this is an incredibly simple thing. How does that not work? It knows what your last read text is. Why can't it just
There
jump
must
you
be
to
something
that
to it.
spot?
It's really
Why
weird.
is that?
I saw somebody commenting like, "Where did this go? What happened to it?"
Cool. Well, thanks for that roundup there, Lewis. There's some good features in here that are coming eventually. The AirPlay in the hotel room, dude, that one just cracks me up. We went to Disney World last year around this exact same time, and we were staying at an expensive Disney World resort at the Animal Kingdom Lodge. And it's a beautiful hotel. And we get to the rooms, beautiful rooms, huge rooms. And we turn on the TV and it's like, oh, there's nothing to watch. They want you to buy movies, or they don't even give you Disney Plus. Dude, it's Disney. Like, how come we can't at least watch Disney Plus? No, they don't. And there's no way that we could find to easily stream content unless you sign in on the TV into your specific apps. It'd be way easier just to AirPlay stuff from your phone to a TV in your hotel room. So that's actually a big one. If you travel, it's going to make it way easier to watch the content that you already have without having to sign into a bunch of crap. And then, by the way, you got to remember to sign out when you're leaving so that you don't have a bunch of people watching your accounts when after you leave. Okay, one last one I wanted to highlight. This is one that I was really excited about, and they finally released it, and it works like a dream, man. My wife and I do like a book club with some friends, and we always have a hard time getting our computer in a place where it shows both of us. It's well lit because our living room's kind of dark. She has an older MacBook Air, and the camera is just absolute garbage. It looks like we're broadcasting from a cave in Afghanistan. And I was like, if only there were a way to easily use our phone, and you can use your phone as a camera with MacBook Airs now, but you got to like have the phone and there's the computer. You have to be holding the computer as well, so it's kind of awkward. Well, now you can use your TV as your FaceTime computer, and you can use your phone as your camera if you have an Apple TV 4K. And I tried this out. It's super slick, man. Like, you can easily turn your camera on and off, and you can make FaceTime calls. And now you can have the picture of the people you're talking with on your TV, and then you just set your phone up somewhere close by, and it uses Center Stage to zoom in on you, and it works super well, man. Like, you can move around. It follows you all around. For the first time ever, I'm like, Center Stage is actually useful to me. And now you get to have a phone call, a FaceTime call on your TV, which is what I always wanted. And you still have a great camera, because even in low light, the iPhone camera creates a beautiful image of you. And it's one of those features that highlights the magic of Apple. Like, every once in a while, they pull something off like this, and you're like, dude, only they could do this. No one else would get this to work. They would tell you that it was a feature, and then you'd go to use it, and it would be complete garbage. But like the continuity camera feature, that's Apple magic, man. Like, the fact that you can use your iPhone camera on your MacBook Pro, and now you can use it with your Apple TV. I mean, I know it's a fanboy thing to say, but I do think it's true. It's like, that's the Apple magic right there. Like, they're the only ones that are able to get that actually working and have it work reliable. So if you haven't tried it out, you need to update your iPhone to iOS 17. You also need to update to tvOS 17, and then you'll have the ability to use your iPhone camera for FaceTime calls on your TV. Works beautifully well. I'm looking forward. We have book club next week, and I'm like, finally, we're not going to have to sit there and hold a computer on our laps and both like, hey, like smushed in together, right? So we could both be in front of the MacBook Air screen. It's not a good setup. This is going to be much better. And that's it. That's all I got. Any famous or final words before we wrap up here? Famous final words even?
I got one last word.
What's that?
There's going to be a giveaway again this week. Post is on its way.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Okay. Do we have anything that we could show the good people?
I don't even have a link. No, I don't have a link.
So eventually there will be a giveaway. Just keep your eyes on cultamac.com.
You know what it is? It's a screen protector from Zag for iPhone 15. So I think we're giving away 3 of them. Post should be up very soon. So go to the homepage, cultamac.com, scroll down to the giveaway, get your free screen protector.
There you go. And with that, my sparkling clean fingertip, thanks to CultCloth, is ready to depress the music button, because that's it. Look at that. We even have 7 minutes left. I can't believe it. I'm not actually like rushing out the door. But that's it. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The fun never ends when you're a CultCast listener. Me and Lewis, we're both on the new X, duking it out. And I've been trying to be more active there. I know I went dark for a while, but I'm kind of back now. I'm trying to make more comments and troll more people. So I'm at Erfon, ERFON. Lewis is at Lewis Wallace. This has been the CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday. I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank everyone for tuning in. Hey, if you would, please go leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. I should ask that more often. It really helps us out a lot. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will see you guys next time. There you go, Lewis. Another one in the books.
We made it.
Look how relieved.
We made it just in the nick of time.
No one looks more content or relieved than you right after I press the end stream button. Your face churns from that grimaced, painful expression into just a nice, relaxed 1,000-foot stare. Look at you. I'm getting more relaxed just looking at you. All right, everyone. That's all the Winnie banter I have for you. I'm hovering towards the end stream button as we speak. Have a good weekend.